Yeah, you know what that sound that is?
Cheers!
That's the sweet sound of victory.
Yeah. Cheers.
Over the Jags.
LaCroix. I see your LaCroix. Is that a LaCroix?
That is a LaCroix.
No one told me to get some beer for this, so.
Okay.
Good job, Justin. Way to recognize that LaCroix. Anyways, welcome into another episode of Titans Tube, everyone. This will be the recap podcast of the Titans' big win down in Duval.
Emphasis
on the L's on the end. Where we got the W's. Titans beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-6 on the road. Mariota coming off the bench for an injured Blaine Gabbert and leading a gutsy performance to win on the road. First off, before we get into this, I want to give a shout out to hang10.com. They have some awesome Titans apparel. Check out this new Pineapple 8 shirt from Mariota.
And
that's what's up. Use the code TitansTube.
This Mariota
you got one,
shirt
Justin?
for Mariota. So.
And that Mariota shirt. You need one of those shirts now. Use the code TitansTube for 10% off. Also, shout out to Backyard Dog BBQ Sauce. Check out their GoFundMe in the description below and all of our patrons. Thank you very much.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you. We are pretty hyped here.
Wow.
Can't believe it. Titans now are 2-1 on the season, 2-0 with first place in the AFC South. Let's get right into it. Amy, I'm going to toss this one to you. What opening thoughts on the game?
Opening thoughts, wow. Not expecting this. Super pumped. So excited for our team. This team has got guts. We've got heart and just all the things we've had to go through in 3 weeks into the season. Not many teams would be able to win. I mean, I'm impressed. Very impressed. Not necessarily with the way we're playing, but more just with the fact that we are able to get wins like this, dig, just those. They're digging deep, and they're pulling it out, and I love it. I'm loving it. That's something you can't teach.
Word.
Can't teach that.
This team's got heart, like you said.
Crazy first 3 games for rookie head coach Mike Vrabel. Welcome to the NFL, bro. How's it feel to be a head coach finally?
It's not like he hasn't been in the NFL for several years. But first time as a head coach.
From a coaching debut, the things he's had to go through the first 3 weeks, losing like his star players on offense, almost like across the board, all the injuries, the 7-hour game 1. It's been a roller coaster ride for Vrabel 3 weeks in, and yet here we are 2-1 and first place in the AFC South, beating 2 division rivals back to back. With a backup quarterback and then an injured quarterback. Justin, let's hear your thoughts on overall on the game.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, like you said, 2-1, and now looking back, Miami is 3-0, so that loss may not look as bad as it really does, or it looks as bad as it really is. But so there's lots of things to talk about, and I don't know where to start. Obviously, Mariota, man, like what a story! You couldn't have written a better story of how Blaine Gabbert going into the game, and obviously that could have been the Jags' downfall. Looking back on it, is knocking Blaine Gabbert out of the game, and then Mariota coming in. We don't know exactly how healthy he is. We had those tweets from the guys that worked for the team, Jim Wyatt, Paul Kaharski, saying that he looked good in warm-ups. They just weren't sure about the velocity of the ball, but he looked like he could, he was healthy enough to play if need be. And that's exactly what happened. He came in, and, man, he made some clutch throws. And I think the MVP of this game, though, has to be Mariota's legs. He made so many clutch runs, so many great scrambles. And that's a thing that we have now seen many times. Every time we go up against the Jags, he kills the Jags defense with his legs. He has an 87-yard touchdown run against them in the books. He has the stiff arm against Barry Church. You get married in churches, but the guy's name's Barry Church. To seal that win to go to the playoffs. Yeah, and then this game, just so many crucial first downs that he got with his legs, and that's something that Blaine Gabbert absolutely could not have given us, and I think that may well have been the difference in the game. So props to Mariota. It's great to see our starting quarterback back there making plays this season, and I think things are looking up for us if he can just stay in there, continue to rehab that elbow, get back to 100%. Just amazing performance from the starting quarterback, and it's just a trickle-down effect. I mean, the receivers had those early drops, and it was looking ugly early on, but I think they rebounded pretty well. I mean, they had some big-time receptions for us late in the game. Corey Davis, he had 2 catches.
Taywan Taylor.
2 catches for 34 yards, but both of those catches were huge for us in extending drives and getting points. which were at a very, very limited. They were at a premium, or I don't know what the expression is, but it was hard to score points in this game. All right, and humble brag, shout out to myself. In the preview app, I did say the key to this game is to keep this game close at halftime. Literally verbatim said to have this at a 3-3 tie at halftime, which is what we did. And I said we would win the game 16-13. Which would have been the score if either team had managed at least one touchdown, but that didn't happen. But it was still a 3-point win. I'm not complaining, but that's what we had to do. That's the kind of game that we needed to play in order to win this game, and we got it done. And my 17-minute rant is now over. I'm sorry. Man, Caleb, I want to hear your reactions, though.
Well, you got it spot on with your predictions for this game. It was going to be a tough-fought battle, defensive struggle. Of course, we didn't predict Mariota was going to play. Well, actually, when we were filming the preview video, we thought Mariota would start. Here's my question, Justin. Do we need a healthy Mariota, actually? Because I feel like he actually performs better when he's slightly injured. Think back to last year when he came. We had that Monday Night Football game against the Colts. He was slightly banged up, came in, led a valiant effort to get our first win over the Colts in like 11 games. This game he comes in, supposedly slightly banged up. He looked the best I've seen him in 8 or 9 games there today. 12 of 18 on the game, and 4 of those were dropped passes. Yes. 4 of those incompletions were either dropped passes or a swatted ball. Made incredible reads and decisions when choosing to run the ball. I think that was the main thing. He was extremely smart, extremely careful. He did take a few hits, but even then he was going to the ground, making sure that he got the yards he needed before he went down. So game ball to him. We'll also give another game ball. You can interject here. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, no, I was agreeing with you, and I'm glad you brought that up because Mariota today, he has his games where, he's back there in the pocket passing, and he looks undecisive. He doesn't look confident or comfortable in what he's doing. But in this game, he was very decisive, whether it was bringing down the ball and running with it or making quick reads and throwing the ball. There was no, hesitation. He looked like a very, very confident quarterback in this game, and that's something that we need to see out of him more than anything else because we know the physical ability is there when he's healthy. It's just those quick decisions, the confidence in the scheme and the system and the play calling that he sees, reading the defense, et cetera, and he did that beautifully today. So, so impressed with Mariota.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, I think y'all forgot I was here.
I
definitely think he played better because I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Since he apparently was limited because of his hand, so that definitely makes running more of an option available. Even though we all know he has great legs and for a quarterback is very mobile.
You like Mariota's legs?
Well, what about my legs? Watch your words.
I know. Easy.
Even though we know he has good legs, he's very mobile as a quarterback. I feel like he's always kind of been very reserved in that area, and he kind of saves that most of the time. There are some plays we've seen him run where it was a designed run for him, but I feel like most plays, that's a last-second thing. If no one's open, there's nothing, I'll run. This time around, though, his hands hurt, so I feel like the running game and the passing game were, kind of on even ground. It was you don't want to, mess with your hand too much, so you can run more than you might in the past, and I feel like it worked out for him.
Yeah, maybe having a limitation on Mariota actually helps him out because, like you said, Justin, he did look very decisive back there. Whether he was doing an RPO and chose to keep the ball himself and run, or whether he was hitting Corey Davis on a slant on the big third down, or taking off on 3rd and 1 late in the game for 15 yards, very decisive. Yeah. From the reports I'm hearing, I heard that his main limitation was throwing down the field. Obviously we didn't throw the down the field much today, but we never really do. So maybe that's a benefit to us.
Yeah. That's never been his strong suit.
Yeah, but he looked 100% to me. Was not shying away from hits. Was not looking indecisive in the pocket. So huge game from Mariota. Very Steve McNair-esque.
Oh yeah. Oh, that hits home really well. I love that comparison. Yes.
I know you did. Big Stephen guy over there.
Looking at his stats, 7 carries for 51 yards, 7.3 average. So, making a huge difference with his legs. Those are Steve McNair rushing numbers. And, Mariota can do damage with his legs, but 51 yards on the ground is a good amount for him. He doesn't do that every Sunday at all, not even close to it. So it's good to see that he can adapt his own style of play, I guess. You know, he likes to be a pass-first quarterback when it's there, but obviously, yeah, can't throw the ball downfield, elbow or hand, limiting him. It was great. It was impressive. And I have a note here about a team stat, I guess, which is very interesting because I think this speaks to our, I guess, I'm not sure what it speaks to exactly, but it's interesting. I think it's a lot of coaching, though, and understanding the game plan and what we have to do to stay in this game and win it in the end, and that's the rushes. Like, this was never more than a 3-point game throughout the entire course of the game, and Jacksonville ran it 19 times and were effective with it. What was their average? They ran for 87 yards, which was a 4.6 average. Yeah. So they were being productive on the ground. And for the Titans, we almost doubled that number. We ran the ball 35 times, and we definitely saw the toll that it had against the Jags defense in the second half. Mm-hmm. Those final drives were very long, time-consuming drives. And Derrick Henry getting a full steam ahead and getting 5-6-yard chunks down the field or running the ball. So very interesting how Jacksonville kept wanting to put the ball in Blake Bortles' hands to throw it. He threw the ball 34 times in a game that was never more than a 3-point game, which is very interesting to me.
I really liked how in the end we had those long drives. I feel like in a game like this where we can't really get our offense going and it's always within 3 points, like just a really close, hard-fought game like that, I think those long drives are crucial, especially to the team who's in the lead. Because in the end, you're like, oh, man, we just got the ball back. Yeah, we're only down 3, but we only have 45 seconds now. Mm-hmm. I think those long drives were a great tactic and strategy for the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Execution. Great execution. Got to give props to Vrabel and crew again. Out-coached Marone. Everyone was giving props to Jacksonville and their offensive coordinator, who I still have not learned his name because I do not respect the Jags whatsoever. But
wow, that's a little
I'm just kidding.
Got to respect the opponent, bro. They're a good team,
kidding.
And we have to play them again later on in the season, so let's not get too high and mighty, or it'll come back and bite us in the butt like Jags fans who came into this game super confident and cocky.
But come on, give it up to Vrabel and crew. LaFleur, I mean, how LaFleur probably thought he was walking into his ideal environment with, a young quarterback, running quarterback in Mariota, dual threat, some weapons in the backfield with Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis, and then through 3 games, Delaney Walker, and through 3 games, he's having to work with a bunch of scraps and injured players and having to create plays that, to utilize people who aren't there. Who
no kidding.
I bet
through the offseason, I bet he was scheming up a whole lot of crap around Delaney Walker and utilizing him big time. And then all of a sudden, he's got to do without him. So, LaFleur, great adjustments and doing the best with what he has. And, if you say, hey, LaFleur, if you give us 9 points in this game, we're going to win. That's likely not going to happen like every week. We are fortunate enough that, hey, shout out Dean Pease in this defense, really locking down Blake Bortles in the Jags offense to keep us in the game too. And I think that's really, we gave the MVP, I guess, to Mariota, but the defense is really what won us this game. We knew it would be a grinded out, tough, hard fought game, and the defense absolutely did their job. If there was a defensive MVP, real quick, I would like to give it to Wesley Woodyard, who not only led our team in tackles with 12, but I thought he set that tone really early with that sack that he got in the first quarter, just to kind of set the tone for the defense and to give that that confidence that hey, we're every time we get on the field we're going to dominate. And he added in 2 tackles for loss and a pass defensed, so he was everywhere. You could spread out the love around all kinds of players on the defense, but I thought Wesley Woodyard was the tone setter early on, and the team kind of fed off from that.
Yeah, I was actually about to segue us into defense, being like, I know we gave Mariota the game ball, but my other game ball will go to the whole defense, and also Dean Pease. Great game plan for Bortles. This is a squad that put some points up on the defending Super Bowl, not champions, but participants, New England Patriots last week. You had them up early, and we just completely shut down that offense. Making Blake Bortles throw 34 times, I will take that any day. I want Bortles to beat me with his arm because I don't think any Titans fan really still respects Bortles. I know we talked highly of him about how he's, moving past the critics with his play. Went for 377 yards and 4 TDs against the Patriots. But still, against the Titans, we shut him down every time. Got to credit that to the defense.
Yeah.
Harold Landry, a guy who's not shown up on the stat list, on the stat sheet, but he is making plays out there. And I think Jarrell Casey honestly should buy this dude a steak after every game because he's going to be
feeding him
Casey's,
stacks, doesn't he?
Yeah, feeding him stacks, making the quarterback step up into the pocket right into Jarrell Casey's waiting hands. So Harold Landry's not coming down with the sack numbers, but directly attributing. Feeding Jarrell Casey sacks game in and
they're
game
going to
out.
come, though. They're going to come. He keeps playing like that, and trust me, the sacks are going to come back around to him. So, yeah, super impressed with that second-round pick, Harold Landry. Almost said first-round pick, and then that makes me think of Rashaan Evans. And then I remembered Rashaan Evans kind of went out after getting banged up a little bit. So, I don't know. That was random, but I haven't heard any update on him. About his injury.
Rashaan Evans, yeah. I was going to say, also when Adoree Jackson went out with that concussion, our secondary did not really miss a step.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell he wasn't out there for the whole second half, but we had the Jags offense flustered by that point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, you think, 9-6 game, like super ugly, brutal, gross game to watch, but there were no turnovers. I mean, aside from some dropped passes by both teams, I wouldn't call this like a sloppy game. I'm not sure about the penalty numbers as far as that goes, but this was just a very hard-nosed defensive game, and it was hard for either offense to get anything going just because that's the kind of game it was. And in this day and age, you expect, a 43-40 game to be like an epic, awesome game. But I feel like this was like an epic, awesome game on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean the offense, like I said, there were no turnovers. We just couldn't get anything done because both defenses were laying the wood.
Yeah,
laying the wood down.
We played a clean game on offense. Let our defense do a lot of the heavy lifting. What did you see from the defense, Amy?
Kind of everything y'all literally have said.
Yeah, reiterate all that.
I mean, they played awesome. They shut down Bortles. I would be interested to see how they did if Leonard Fournette was in the game, just because I feel like we did such a good job. It'd be kind of. I feel like a lot of Jags response to that is going to be like, well, we didn't have Leonard Fournette. So I would have liked to see, honestly, him in there because I feel like we still would have shut him down too.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting point because I feel like even though we have shut down Leonard Fournette in the past, if Leonard Fournette was playing for him, I feel like they would have had more of an inclination to run the ball instead of putting the ball in Bortles' hands. They would have just force-fed Fournette, which may have worked out for him in the long run because they were running the ball pretty effectively with Yeldon, and I guess who was their other guy? Corey Grant. He didn't have that many yards, but
it was mainly Yeldon and
Fournette
Bortles.
was still Yeldon was their main guy that was gashing us a little bit. But I feel like with Fournette, I think they would have been more inclined to run the ball, and we've seen our run defense kind of give up some runs here and there throughout the season. So kind of interesting how that all played out.
Hey, well, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Fournette not playing, whatever. We beat the Jags. We were without Delaney and several other. Conklin not playing. It was great to have Lawan back for this game, even though he was puking pregame.
That's insane. What was that from?
Yeah.
I hope that was like nerves and not like a concussion or something, because I know that can happen if you have concussions.
Well, he was cleared to play, and he played, so proud of that, or I'm happy for that. But, yeah, man, defense just all around great performance. Gutsy one on the road. We got some fan questions to react to from Twitter and Instagram. If you're not following us on Twitter, it's Titans _tube _YT, and on Instagram is Titans _tube. Let's start with this one from Drake. D-Frames Go Titans on Twitter. He said, this seems like an easy one, but should Mariota start from here on out, barring another injury? I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's there's no question about that. I mean, with that kind of injury for his elbow and the numbness or whatever that he's feeling, I don't think there's anything that can hamper like a setback. So like he's only going to get stronger from here on out unless he like literally hits the nerve a second time somehow again. So he's only going to get healthier, and he didn't get banged up in any other way in this game. So, yeah, he's 100% going to start against Philadelphia as far as I'm concerned. But I have no say in the team decisions. But that's what I see. Yeah.
Well, especially with
he's the starter.
Gabbert now going into concussion protocol. Like,
yeah,
he's obviously going to
Gabbert
start
may not
next
even
few
be
games.
ready to play by next week,
Yeah.
so we don't know.
And I think with how Mariota looked and played today, I think he's got to be starting next week at home against the Eagles. I don't see how you could put, if Gabbert clears concussion protocol and Mariota's still feeling some numbness, I would still put Mariota out there. Come on, guys. He's tough. We saw it today. He can play.
We saw some serious, just tenacity, and we saw that desire to make plays and put the team on his back. So, I mean, his mindset's in the right place as far as what I saw today. So,
and honestly,
I
feel like the team as a whole just responds better with him being back there. I mean, that's what they practiced all offseason, and, I mean, that's what you've been working with and practicing with. You're obviously going to feel most comfortable that way if you're a lineman or receiver or whatever. I feel like just the general vibe of being out on the field with Marcus behind center, even if he's not playing his best, is going to be higher than anyone else.
True.
Yeah.
The question is now, one, are we going to sign another quarterback this week?
Ooh.
You know, once Gabbert went down. When I saw Gabbert go down, which he got rocked, that dude might be out for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, good, we get to see Mariota. But now I'm like, okay, if Mariota goes down, we have no other quarterback right now dressed. I heard Darius Jennings.
You know who our emergency quarterback
I heard Darius
is?
Jennings was.
I heard Darius Jennings is, which, by the way, where did he come from? He caught a pass today, and I didn't know he was even in like the offensive rotation game plan. But yeah, shout out.
If he can catch a pass, put him in there, because Tajay Sharp and Rashard Matthews couldn't catch passes today.
No, what's up
Boom.
with that?
Next man up. So if they're going to be dropping balls literally, then get Darius Jennings in there. He's playing well. I got another question about Mariota from Jake Shook. He says, can the Mariota hate stop now? The dude wins games regardless of stat lines. I think it's the stat lines. I can't really see the full.
I mean, his stat line was not bad. He didn't have any touchdowns. He also didn't throw any interceptions, but he had a great completion percentage. I mean, and if he didn't have those dropped passes, like you just mentioned, those stats would have been better. He had great rushing stats. I thought his stat line was fine today, for sure. But, I think he's going to have to do more in a lot of people's eyes to not get that hate, I guess, for whatever reason. I think he just needs to show more consistency. If he comes out the next couple games and really puts together a good string of 2-3 games and we look good, win a couple of them at least, then I think some of that hate will start to regress a little bit and be like, okay, this guy, he can play. He just needs to stay healthy.
That is literally what I was going to say, Justin. When you were talking, I was like, consistency. I think that's...
I see you.
That's the thing. Like, we've seen he can do it, but can he do it consistently? Can he do it more than just
week to week
in spotty times?
Well, from an outside perspective, they're not. Other teams in the league aren't watching Mariota play week in and week out, so they're looking at that stat line. Yeah, they see the Titans won, but they look at Mariota, they're like, oh, he probably didn't have a whole lot to do with it. Meanwhile, us as Titans fans are being like, man, Mariota made play after play late in the game to get this team in the position they needed to win the game. That's the stuff that you don't see on the stat line. So it's hard to vouch for the Titans win. I mean, we were even watching Football Night in America right before we started filming this. They skipped over the Titans highlights. The Titans and Jaguars highlights.
They really?
Yeah, just skipped them. Didn't even do them.
They didn't show them
at all. It popped
at
up the stats like they were going to talk about them, and then cut away to another segment. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Actually,
people were saying the Jags were the top team in the AFC. Keep going.
Yeah, no. Yeah, as far as us winning the game, that's a big deal. But as far as showing highlights, this was funny because I went on YouTube and the NFL, I think it's the official NFL channel, they put out highlights of each game, and usually on average it's like a 10-minute to 12, 13-minute long video full of the highlights of the game. This game's video that they posted didn't even have 5 minutes. It was that short because there were that little of highlights to show. There's no highlights to show. I mean, no touchdowns, no really big gains. I don't know what the biggest gain in the play was, but it was probably like 15 yards.
That's true.
And that was
I think Corey Davis had a 22-yard catch. Yeah, that might have been the longest play of the day. The whole game was a highlight, though. From start to finish, that was an amazing, epic Titans game. I'm really glad we won because that might have changed my view if we had lost that game. But that was a great game to watch. I mean, fourth quarter, you tweeted it, Justin, might have been the most stressful fourth quarter of a Titans game ever. But
my palms are still
sweaty.
What a
big win. I got another question dealing with the offense and the run game, Henry and Lewis, from Octavius Kite. Lots of chatter going on behind Justin right now. People pumped about the Titans win.
Really? There's a party happening.
There's a party. That's fine, man. Let them party about the Titans. Okay, Octavius Kite
They're happy.
says, do we now start Dion Lewis with the way he's been playing and Henry starting slow? Is that the only question we got? And then another one from Clyde Evergreen says, why do you think Henry isn't getting fed all game? So 2 questions about the running game. If we look at the stats, Henry had 18 carries for 57 yards.
Yeah, he doubled Dion Lewis in touches. So we're definitely fed Henry way more than Lewis.
Did I? Oh.
What happened? What's going on here?
Amy's computer died, so we'll share
headphones
with her. We're just having to work with us.
I'll keep it going.
Here's what.
I mean, as far as whose start goes, from what I've seen, I mean, even early on in the game, I think LaFleur does a pretty good job of mixing and mingling the running back rotation. But just how the game was going in this one, by the end of the fourth quarter, Henry was running strong. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what the game plan is, but I think both of these guys are effective runners, and I don't think you can sleep on either one of them at any point in the game. Because, I mean, when against Miami in Week 1, I mean, it was Lewis who was the strong runner in the second half of that game, and he carried the ball all the way for us downfield, I think, for his rushing touchdown that he got in that game. So it's hard to tell with these two backs because they're so just uniquely different from each other in styles. And Dion Lewis did have 3 catches, only for 14 yards. But, I mean, yeah, obviously you want Lewis in there for passing situations. But it's very – I just feel like it's very situational.
Yep.
Early on in the game, I don't really have a preference, I guess, for whoever starts. I mean, I'm still fine with Henry taking the bulk of the carries early in the game and then trickling in Dion as the game goes on and then finishing it out with Henry. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, I think we have 2 very capable backs who are also very different from each other. So it's kind of a hard call for me. What do you guys say?
I have a question. Why does it really matter which one starts if they both play evenly?
Nope.
Not really. I mean, yeah, it's kind of strange because Gabbert started this game, but he didn't finish it. But he'll get credited
for the
in
win.
The stat sheet as winning the game. Yeah, and he really didn't do anything to win.
Rich Eisen
game.
thinks he won the game, but that's besides the point.
What do you mean? I don't know that reference.
He put out a tweet that said like Blaine Gabbert just beat the Jags at home right after the game, and I saw Paul Kaharski quote him be like, "Obviously you didn't watch. He only had 1 pass completed, and then Mariota finished out the game."
On the stat sheet, he beat the Jags.
See, that's just how much the Titans just get overlooked in the national media. Yeah, it was a big. People were like, "Oh yeah, they beat the Jags at home, or in Jacksonville," but people don't even look at the stats or worry about how the game went down.
Yeah.
Are you guys worried at all? Henry has been vocally or has verbally expressed that he's kind of been pissed off about how he's been playing these first 3 games. Hasn't really had a breakout game. Yep. He had a good game against Jacksonville in Jacksonville last year, and I think people were expecting him to do that again. He didn't have horrible stats, but 18 carries for only 57 yards. Nothing incredible.
I mean, those stats were bolstered in the fourth quarter. Sorry to interject.
No, definitely.
But I mean, a chunk of those yards were on those last couple drives, for sure.
Yeah, so is there any worry there with you guys that we're not seeing the kind of rushing production out of the combination of Henry and Lewis that we did from, say, Henry and Murray the past 2 years? Or is this still something a work in progress?
I think it's still a work in progress. I'm not worried because I feel like I see a lot of potential. Like, I definitely see moments with each of them, Lewis and Henry, where I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. Like, that's what they can do. And it's just kind of going back to what we talked about with Mariota. It goes back to a consistency thing. Okay, can they do this consistently for us now, please? So I've definitely seen – I'm not that worried because I've seen – the potential's there, but I definitely, if we keep just seeing little snippets of potential for the next 8 games, then it's going to be frustrating. But trying to give them a little bit of grace since it is only week 3.
Yeah. I'm with you there. It's like another consistency thing because we still have those runs that like lose 5 yards and like. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. Like, we lose 5 – how do you lose 5 yards on a run? And it happens, I feel like, at least once a game, maybe a couple times a game. But I think Lewis and Henry both had runs that went for big losses in this game. And, I mean, I credit the Jags defense. They're going to do that to you. But yeah, I think it's a consistency thing, and I think getting Jack Conklin back eventually will help. But we're just trying to find our groove again with this new scheme, new coaching staff. But hey, at the end of the day, when we needed to grind out runs today, Henry absolutely did that, and the offensive line for sure did that too, and Mariota grinding out runs as well.
Yeah, Henry's pretty hard to take down in the fourth quarter, but I think you nailed it, Justin. That's kind of been the theme of the whole offense so far, especially with all the pieces moving in and out. I mean, we've already started 2 different quarterbacks over 3 games trying to cement this LaFleur offense with all the pieces moving around. So everyone's still trying to get used to it. We're still trying to work it in. And it's hard to without, a single starting quarterback back there to work off of. I also think since Gabbert's been playing, defenses have kind of been crowding the line of scrimmage, not really being afraid of Gabbert, trying to make Gabbert beat him with his arm. And Mariota today, too, knowing that he was hampered. So I think defenses through 3 weeks have been more prone to shut down the run, knowing what we have back there and trying to force us to beat them through passing the ball. So I'm not worried either from the running game. Mm-hmm. I think we'll get it together as the season progresses. Amy?
I was just going to say, when you were talking about how we've started 2 different quarterbacks over the last 3 games, Justin and I sitting here talking about how consistency is important and we need to find that. It's been the most inconsistent 3 games you could probably ever have as a team.
Yes.
Not to mention the whole coaching staff newness as well. So I think it'll take longer to find the consistency than normally. If maybe we're working with a coaching staff that we'd had for a while, or Marcus was consistently our quarterback. But I see it. I think we'll get there.
I mean, more props to the coaching staff for working with all the inconsistencies and injuries. I mean, Vrabel, LaFleur, and crew,
they're the real
MVP right now.
Honestly.
When's the last time? I know people have been talking about it on social media, Titans social media, but when's the last time you could really credit the Titans coaching staff by just out coaching teams left and right, game after game? Because I think Vrabel and crew have done it the past 2 weeks for sure. That Dolphins game was just crazy, so I don't know about that one. But it's obvious to see that we were the better coached team in both these division games.
And that's a good groundwork to have. To build consistency
great foundation.
Off of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely agree.
Got another question.
Do we have
got another question from
Yeah.
Blake C at EMT Carson 19. He's specifically asking Amy, will Amy keep picking against the Titans until they lose? If you haven't been following along, Amy has picked
so well
she picked
so far.
Texans to beat us last week, and then she picked the Jags to beat the Titans today. Titans have won both those games. She did, however, pick the Titans to beat the Dolphins, and they were wrong. So it seems like whatever pick you make against the Titans, it's the exact opposite. So will you keep picking against the Titans now that we're on a hot streak?
Blake, that's a great question. I don't know. I'm not really a very superstitious person. But I am starting to get convinced now with this pattern that they are showing our picks videos in the locker room before the games, and that they're all getting upset that I'm picking against them. So I just might, it's really something we have to think about. We'll take it game by game, but that's always in the back of my mind for sure. Good question.
Listen, our Titans players, man, they love proving you wrong, Amy. That's the true motivation.
It's really
inspiring.
I'm the MVP.
So you're going to keep picking against them until they lose? Is that the consensus there?
I can't give a direct answer.
She picks very logically.
Well, I'm very superstitious, so I hope you do pick against them.
Yeah, me too. Okay, we got another question from Kyle, Crazy Pellet 11. We were just kind of talking about this with the coaching staff, but he says, how does this coaching staff compare to years past? I feel like J-Rob hit a grand slam. Like the great Bambino, hashtag NJRob, we trust. We had a great season last year, getting our first playoff win in a decade with Malarkey and Robisky, even with all the criticism that they got for just running the most mediocre offense in the history of the NFL. So I don't want to take anything away from what they accomplished, but already through 3 games with how LaFleur has manipulated the offensive pieces he's been having to work with, and then with how Vrabel has this crew just grinding out gutsy wins, I think we're light years ahead of what we've seen for the past 5 or 6 seasons in terms of coaching staff with the Titans. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Because, Malarkey's Titans teams of the last couple years, they were a very healthy team. We did not have that many injuries hardly at all to deal with. And to see Vrabel come in here and deal with these injuries that that Malarkey never did, and still getting the W. I think that speaks to the coaching staff adjusting the game plan week to week based on the matchup, based on who we're playing, instead of just having our set scheme and running it regardless of
Justin,
of who's
that's
out
like
there.
exactly what I was going to say when you the injury thing and
we're on the same page.
Switching up the game plan every week depending on who we're playing. I felt like with old coaching staffs of old, they just had their vision and had their mindset on this one way, and that's how we were going to play every team. And I don't think that works in the NFL. So I've enjoyed seeing how we've switched up the game plan with all these crazy variables of injuries. It's been cool to see, I guess, the flexibility that they've been bringing to our game plan, to our offense and defense.
Yes. As the great Dick LeBeau said, I think last year, you
or
adapt
die. You
or
either
die
play the Game of
coaches.
Thrones or you die.
Or die.
Yeah. Next question.
Sorry, Caleb, you never got to give your take.
I started with my take,
question.
man. I said they're amazing. They're doing excellent.
I wasn't
and back
listening.
to how we were kind of criticizing the run game and Deion Lewis, Derrick Henry. I think Vrabel, LaFleur, and crew are still trying to figure out what kind of weapons they're dealing with. I know they've had the whole offseason to work with them, but when it comes to actually performing in games, they're seeing what situation players fit in better. And so I think that'll come. We'll work that out with time. So once again, props to them for through 3 weeks getting the job done in tough situations and tough scenarios.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, we mentioned it briefly, but Delaney Walker going out probably did impact a lot of the stuff that they were planning on doing, whether it was plays designed for him or running run plays where we were counting on Delaney to be at that spot and making that block. And we're having to use players that may not be able to do those things. So again, coaches adjusting
to the coaches.
Do it
to the Kings in the AFC South.
Dilly.
Oh, after 3 games, can we really call us the?
Hey, bro, we're 2-0. We just beat the Jags. Everyone thought they were the hottest team in the AFC after taking out the Patriots last week. We shut them up. That's 3 straight wins over Duval. Take that L, bro. I got a question from Coach Will at Will Porter 101. He says this was a big moment in the game. I thought it was going to impact us in the second half, but he says, what do you guys think about not letting Adoree Jackson do punt returns, but instead putting him more on offense? So like him and Taylor doing Taylor doing more jet sweeps rather than trying to get him offensive yards in special teams. What do you, Justin? I'll ask you this. What do you think about Adoree back there returning punt returns? We saw him almost get injured last week, and then he did get a concussion this week.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice idea. He is a very skilled and athletic player, obviously, but I'm gonna have to. For me personally, I'm gonna have to say nay on that idea. Nay that. I think Adoree Jackson and what he brings to the secondary is too valuable to risk him. After this game, now I want to see even punt returns. I'm scared to put him back on a punt return again. I mean, he made a beautiful looking return, juking and jiving and twirling and spinning. That's exaggerating a little bit, but he made a good looking return, making people miss, and then he got absolutely cranked by a couple Jaguars, and it took him out of the game. So I would rather him just to do his thing on defense. I think we have a great secondary. We have good depth, finally, at the cornerback position and in the longest time ever. And so I feel like even with that, he's too valuable on the defensive side to use him on offense or now as a punt return. And as far as Rashard Matthews goes on punt returns, I kind of like what I see. He doesn't do anything fancy, but he catches the ball and he literally runs straight ahead and gets everything that he possibly can before he gets lit up. So, I mean, if that's what we're going to do on punt returns now, I don't really have a problem with that, honestly. But that's my take. Keep Adoree on defense. Don't let him get hurt doing anything fancy for special teams or offense.
Man, I definitely think having someone back there who has the capabilities of breaking one every now and then, which the Titans haven't had in a while. I used to harp on this in season 1 of Titans 2 when we had Mark Mariani in his post-injury days.
But it shouldn't be your first string cornerback though.
Back
right?
in the day, we had
like
Derek Mason back
wide
there
receiver
returning
or
kicks.
Safety or something.
We even saw it in the AFC
but then
Championship
once he
game
emerged
against
as the best receiver on the team, we
All right,
got
guys,
somebody else back there.
down.
This is the first. Yeah, I'm getting angry.
I'm getting angry.
I wish you were here in the room,
question.
man. No, now that we've
I'll
seen
punch you right now.
other capable returners such as Darius Jennings on kickoffs, and then Rashawn Matthews, he doesn't give you anything flashy, but he's safe, he's comfortable, and he hasn't made mistakes.
He's safe. He's a Mark Murray.
Why can't we see Darius Jennings back there returning punts? He already took a kickoff to the house. I would like to see him back there. But now that we've seen that we have some other capable return men, I say Adoree Jackson, just stay on defense and then maybe use him on offense here and there. Agreed, Ames?
Yes, I definitely think Adoree could. I think he can do great things on offense. I think he can do great things wherever he is. He's a great, shifty, athletic player, but I kind of think he just needs to be where we need him to be and just do that. Just focus on that.
Yeah, he's easily becoming our top cornerback.
Okay, I'll retract a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing Jackson come in maybe suddenly out of nowhere, like once or twice in the season. But I don't want to see a consistent thing where we trot him out there for 2 plays every single game and run something for him. Like I don't want to see that. But if we want to catch some people off guard for 1 game, maybe 2 games.
But with how much the injury bug has been biting the Titans 3 games into the season, we got to just get Adoree on defense. Let someone else return punts, and then let our offense move the ball that way. Okay, got a few more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. This one, people in the back cheering for Justin's. Whoa. Okay, this one comes from Brady, the Cubs fan. So I also think that you're a Titans fan, but he says, are the Titans now a dark horse to win the Super Bowl this year? That's quite a. You think it's an overreaction?
I feel like after this 9-6 win, are we Super Bowl favorites?
Justin, you were saying that. I feel like you picked the Titans to go to the Super Bowl in our Week 1 picks episode.
We both did pick the Titans to go to the Super Bowl.
I knew it all along.
You were going back and forth.
This game changed my mind. Like I knew we were going to the Super Bowl since the beginning.
But I think he's saying national media coverage will. Are they going to predict us to be a dark horse team to win the Super Bowl after Jacksonville beat the Patriots last week, and then we beat the Jags this week, so we're obviously better than the Patriots who played in the Super Bowl last year. Obviously. But I don't think we're going to get any credit. I still think the national media is going to twist this to be like, oh, the Jags blew it. Oh, is Blake Bortles really the answer still? And it's going to be like, no, the Titans did this.
Yeah, it's going to be how the Jags lost and not how the Titans win. This is always the narrative. I mean, we should be used to it by now. I mean, we're not going to get talked about as an AFC favorite. Maybe we'll get talked about as competing for the division or something like that. But I mean, as far as the national media goes, I mean, we don't get talked about like at all, good or bad. Mostly
they
bad.
They skip over our game highlights and recap on like the biggest football show in America.
I wanted to see those Ryan Succop field goals. That's
right. They got to show Carrie
Underwood.
But I mean, honestly, we could beat Philadelphia next week. We could beat New England, and it would take like what are we, 2-1? We might be 10-1 before they actually start like, oh, hey, look who's 10-1. Oh, the Titans. Huh. Do you think they could maybe make a run? Like that's how much of an impact in the league we would have to make before we get talked about like that. It's just life as a Titans fan. It's fine. Who cares? I don't stay out of the spotlight. Let's just stay quiet and do our thing.
Well, I think we'll keep on staying out of the spotlight with the numbers we're putting up and the ugly wins we're getting. Keyword though, keyword in ugly wins is wins though. Anyway. We're getting them 2-0 in the AFC South once again, first place. Big win in Jacksonville. Closing thoughts, guys. That's all the questions we got. Thank you for the questions. Let's wrap it up here.
I feel like you said a few more questions, and then you literally did one more,
I had some kind of funny questions. One person said, asked the question, "Who runs Jacksonville?" And that's just the answer's obvious. I mean, we do, the Titans.
Oh, okay.
Suck it, Duval.
We'll just say Titans, but there's no actual football talk or analysis. Some of these questions.
Then the other one
they're fun questions.
Is Jalen's dad Derrick Henry? And obviously, again, the answer is yes. I know Derrick Henry didn't have the greatest day, but we definitely own the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Who's your daddy?
And then one other person asked, what did Ramsey say to Corey Davis late in the fourth quarter? We saw them got into a little scrum.
Oh, yeah, they got into it a little bit at the end of the game.
On the goal line, but I have no idea what he said.
Probably said
He probably said, "Oh, dude, we suck. I wish I could come play for the Titans because you guys are so much better than us." And Corey Davis just got really fired up about that. He's like, "Come on, man, come on."
He's like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's trade for you right now."
Closing thoughts, Amy. Overall, what's this game How's this game going to, propel your mindset of the Titans into the future? Going at home, playing against the defending Super Bowl champions, the Eagles, next week. They got Carson Wentz back today and beat the Colts. Thank God. I hate the Colts too. We'll deal with them when they...
By the way, all the other AFC South teams lost today, so that's another win. We won like in all ways.
Great
this
Sunday.
was a great
This might be
Sunday
the best
for a
Sunday we've
Titans
had in
fan.
a while as Titans fans.
So my closing thoughts,
yeah.
I mean, I keep seeing it week in and week out. Just heart. This team has heart. And like I said I'm just going to do a full circle here. Like I said in the beginning, you can't coach or teach that. So it's amazing to see that we have that, because everything else you can coach and teach. All the, skills, plays, game plans, all that you can coach and teach. I love that I keep saying that we have heart and grit, and we never count ourselves out of a game. We never count ourselves out, and that's amazing. Even if we lose our star players, I don't know. I feel like we've seen so much and been through a season's worth of things in like 3 weeks, and we have a winning record, and I love seeing that. I love seeing that more than I would love seeing Mariota have amazing stats. Like, to me, that's more important.
I mean, it's only we're only 3 weeks in, but we basically played 4 games worth of game time.
This team's been through a lot already in just 3 weeks. I think all the adversity kind of, in a way, brings us closer together. And, I mean, this team already loved each other. I mean, this team, we have, like, a very special locker room, I feel like. And I know that's kind of a cliche thing to say, but this team loves each other. They love playing for each other. They'll fight for each other. And I don't know if the change of coach I don't think that had anything to do with that kind of culture. It's just the players that we've had here instilled a culture and great leadership, and that's something that, like you said, Amy, you can't measure that. You can't coach that. That's just something that is that just kind of happens.
Special.
Yeah, I mean, I saw multiple quotes from players after the game just talking about how much they respect Mariota from getting out there and playing hurt and leading a team to a victory against the division rival on the road. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, that is the most Steve McNair-esque thing Mariota has done, and he's done it a few times. But I want to give Mike Mularkey credit. I know he's not with the team anymore, but I think he was really kind of the founding father of turning the culture of the Titans around a few years ago. It was hard to take, before he got here, our team was desolate. The Ken Wisenhunt days. There was no energy. Yeah, there was no culture. There was no excitement around the team. I think it was a really hard job for Mularkey to come in here the way he did and to change the culture, to start people, to get the players believing in each other, to get the players believing in the team and what he was trying to accomplish. And I think we even saw Titans had lots of gutsy wins last year. Think about that road playoff win in Kansas City. We didn't think we were out of it then.
Insane.
And so, obviously he didn't want to make the changes to progress the team even further, which is where Vrabel came in. And I think already Vrabel is cementing another cultural legacy with the Titans. It was already started by Mularkey, but I think Vrabel is just adding more blocks to it. And it's exciting to see as a Titans fan. I'm pretty hype after this win right now. And, I mean, I think we're going to go 18-1 on the year, easily win the Super Bowl, Mariota MVP of the league. With 0 touchdown passes. It's going to happen. First time in NFL history.
Somehow
he's going to throw for
find
under
ways to not put up any stats, but still get the job done.
I love what I'm seeing from the whole team, and I think it starts, honestly, from the top up, from Amy Adams to J-Rob, and then seeping down to the rest of the players. It's going to be a fun season, guys. And I'm done with my beer. It's time for another beer and celebrate this win.
Yeah.
We got Philly at home next week. Bring it on, Carson Wentz, bro. Let's show me what the ACL's about.
Bring it on, bro. Wow. Okay. Yeah, well, let's look forward to that game. Well, not yet. It's still Sunday.
Exactly.
Let's enjoy this win. Let's savor this sweet, sweet win. Let's watch that highlight video that's not even 5 minutes long as many times as possible and just celebrate all those great field goals from Suck Up. And then we can look forward to Philadelphia. That'll be a fun, big game at home. And these fans, I feel like these fans are going to be hyped that are going to be at the game, at least. I think that stadium needs to be loud and rocking. We got the Super Bowl champs coming in town.
Amy
and this
and I
team
both
is
agree
soaring
that,
right now.
That's a major part of
soaring.
Nashville we miss is going to the Titans games. Every Sunday, Titans kilt, man. We sat by you so many times. Thanks for selling us the tickets. We miss you, Titans fans, so you better be loud for us back there. We'll be celebrating and cheering you on here.
I'll be loud.
Thanks for watching.
Yes.
As always, you can listen to all of our episodes now as a podcast on iTunes. Go subscribe, review, rate at Titans Tube on iTunes podcast.
5-star ratings allowed only.
Only 5-star ratings or 3 stars. No 4 stars. I don't want those 4 stars. Get them out of here.
Yeah. 3 or
5.
Word.
Let's go celebrate this one, guys. Have a good day. Tighten up.
Word.
First place. AFC South.